Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees, the podcast. Well, the Yankees just cap off I'll say quite successful homestand against both the Detroit Tigers and the Houston Astros. Almost came away 6-0 there, but of course, 5-1, you'll certainly take that. And of course, Tigers, of course, sweeping them, but of course, the Houston Astros, which I understand is not the typical Houston Astros, but still taking a 2 out of 3, and again, right so far, just dominating them in this 2024 season. So, look at the homestand. Go back on a couple things, especially during the Detroit series. Judge's first ejection. Kind of got into the latest YouTube episode, but I'll at least mention it briefly there because, it is somewhat of a milestone moment. So, a lot of good stuff for this episode. So make sure you subscribe to this podcast if it's your first time listening. And as I mentioned before, there's a YouTube version of the show, a visual version of the show. Just dropped the episode a couple days ago. A lot of stuff relevant, mainly about these umpires, what's going on with the Yankees. It's over last season. Remember Boone getting kicked out a bunch of times, and then this time this season, how that issue with Hunter Wendelstedt, which I really didn't get into because, look, umpires throwing players out is kind of like, even though he had the sort of caveat of the fan being the one that really caused the whole thing, didn't get into that. But of course, now the judge, the Yankee captain of all people, getting tossed out of a game, just kind of reflecting on those umpires. So yeah, make sure you go over to the YouTube channel as well. Check out that episode and subscribe. So a couple weeks ago, obviously the offense wasn't terrific after getting off to a good start. I said, don't worry, it's coming around a little bit, and you are seeing things coming around. One of the good things about this home series that, Judge got his first ejection, which is not really good, but nevertheless, but you see him really start to hit the ball, and it really wasn't, people might say, well, the ejection was kind of his low point, and he's been good for there. He was hitting a little bit better even before that point, and in fact, even in that game, had a couple of hits in that game, a game the Yankees would ultimately win anyway. But you see Judge in his last 12 games hitting a little over 300. Well, you see him now going with the long balls, hitting some bombs. Hit one in the finale against Houston, a real bomb there to, I guess, left center. So it looks like he's really getting into stride now. And even Stanton, impressive about him in this homestand against Houston. You see with those typical Stanton laser shots where that's when he's going good. When he kind of just drives the ball, it just looks like it's just going to be a single, maybe a double, but this keeps going, goes right over the wall. So when Stanton's doing that, he's hitting well. He also hit one game before that, also in the second deck. So looks like he's doing well after, again, he got off to a slow start, was good, cooled off a little bit, but now he's getting it going. In fact, the middle game, I believe, of the Houston series, when you had the big three, Stanton, Judge, and Soto all going yard. We haven't really seen that consistently so far now with a month and a little change into the season. So you just see, again, the potential of the Yankee offense. It looks like it's round the form. So a lot of good stuff from the Yankees. And they almost took the final game against Houston. It would have been nice. They only lost 4-3. So, hey, look, it's Houston, and they're going to win a game. So, there's only so many games you could win against them. I mean, you want to even go back to late 2023, they swept them in Houston those final 3 games. That's what Jason Dominguez joined the team. Then obviously started in Houston this season, beat them 4 times there. So, at that point, coming into the series, the Yankees were, at least 7-0 in their last 7 meetings against Houston, and then take the first 2 games here. So now you increase that to 9-0 if you want to go back there. So at some point, you're going to lose the game there. So, hey, look, they lost the last one, but they had a shot to really tie it there in the 9th. Gleyber Torres, of all people, is still struggling. Gets a hit off of Josh Hader, which you're not expecting there. So the Yankees had a runner on, nobody out, but unfortunately, Hader was able to sort of buckle down and get out of any jam there. So, look, the Yankees dropped the last one. But overall, you would say it was a good recovery after, stumbling a little bit in Camden Yards. Also good to see that Rendon, who been scuffling a little bit after he got off to a good start this season, have a strong start at home there. And, of course, anytime you could beat up Verlander, you like to see that there. So it's hard to say if the Yankees slayed the dragon with the Houston Astros because this is not your typical Houston Astros team. Obviously, they're down. They're like, they're a little under 10 games under 500 there. You would assume at some point they'll get it together and get on a little bit of a roll. And then, they were in the playoffs last season there. So it's hard to see that the bottom completely fell out. Plus, again, you add a closer like Hader, but still it doesn't seem like it helped that much there. Again, the way things are rolling right now in 2024, it looks like Houston won't even make the postseason there. So any dragon slaying might be happening right now. And again, look, Yankees really good spot so far this season against them. Again, at 6-1. So, hey, maybe down the road if Houston somehow slips in as a wild card team or whatever, if somehow they get to the division, well, these wins against them are going to count in the standings, who's going to be a first seed, second seed. So, again, these are still good wins to get. And it's still Houston. It still feels good to beat them, even though it's not the same Houston, Astros from years past. It's still them. You got the names in there like Altuve and Alvarez and Verlander and so forth. So, all good stuff there. And also good to see that Luis Gil, he was matched up against Verlander there. A little sloppy. Gave up a first inning home run to Tucker there. Did issue 4 walks, but again, able to hold down the fort, give the Yankees 6 strong innings, just kept Houston to 1 run there, and allowed the Yankee offense to go to work on Verlander. And again, a good situation to see him out-duel Justin Verlander, the veteran there, a righty and probably future Hall of Famer. I know it's not the usual Verlander we used to, but still it's Verlander. And for Heel, just takes another step there and really just says, solidifying himself in this Yankee starting rotation. So really not too much to complain about. So the Yankees now will head on. Got a weekend series against another AL East foe, the Tampa Bay Rays, and this is not all the same thing here. Not your typical Tampa Bay Rays. At least going into this series right now at 19-19 at 500 there. So if you look at the AL East, it's I kind of mentioned this in the YouTube episodes, and it's probably what it's going to be for the most of the way throughout the rest of the season. It's Yankees and Orioles there up the top. Right now, the Orioles, 2 less losses than the Yankees there, so they just got they were up by half a game or a game, and it's probably going to be neck and neck with these two teams the entire way there. And again, the Yankees, again, as I mentioned, took it on the chin there in Camden Yards. I kind of dove into that more in the YouTube episode, but it wasn't like devastating losses. They're all kind of close, more or less, except there was the one game, it was like 7-2 they lost. Other than that, the Yankees were right there, and that was, again, a period where the Yankee offense was kind of sputtering a little bit. Looks like it's back on track a little bit. So had this Yankee offense the way it is now maybe played in those games, maybe it's a different story. Maybe looking at a 2-2 split, or maybe the Yankees go 3-4. Who knows? But it looks like right now it's just going to be Yankees and Orioles the rest of the way there for the AL East. And it looks like the Rays just aren't as good as they were last season. But again, still have a lot more to go, and teams could get hot. So I'm not going to count the Rays out. I'm not even counting Houston out, even though right now they're like 12-25. I still think at some point maybe they could get a little bit of a run in them. And maybe they'll make some moves around the trade deadline as well there. So right now, good stuff in the Yankee land. Garrett Cole, again, he threw off the mound there, so he's working his way back. They say 4 to 6 weeks, so you're looking at maybe a timetable in June. And of course, you also have Dominguez, the Martian, also starting his rehabbing. Not a game yet, but again, doing drills and hitting and all that stuff as he works his way back there. And it got a little funny moment, as we know there's no more John Sterling. As we also know, you got Justin Schachtel, both as Emmanuel Barberi, chipping in there on the WFAN with Susan Waldman. And they kind of highlighted this on the Boomer and Gio morning show there on WFAN. Kind of how, Barberi kind of made a good point that, hey, it's great that Jason Dominguez is working his way back. And it's Susan kind of, I don't know if it was cool by her, but again, they're conversing. She kind of shot him down right away, saying, well, why is that good news? If he comes up here, that means someone's going to lose his job. Well, okay, but you want that option of having a good, healthy Jason Dominguez to create that. I mean, sometimes you want those problems. You don't want the opposite situation where you're so thin and you're grasping for straws and you're going for like Jake Bowers or Franchi Cordero to fill some holes there. I mean, you want a healthy Jason Dominguez to create that problem, and we'll see what happens down the road. Now, it would be nice if there was a spot for him to play and sort of just hit the ground running here on a major league level. That would be great. But if not, it's not the end of the world. And so I don't know why Susan was so downplaying it. And I think what it also does, it creates competition. So if you're someone like Verdugo, you want to stay on your toes because, hey, if you're not hitting well, you're going to lose your job. I don't think Judge would ever lose his job, even though he, again, didn't have the greatest Aprils of the world there. And in right field, Soto. Hey, look, I don't think Soto's losing his job to Jason Dominguez, so I don't know what Susan's so worried about. The only person that maybe possibly could lose his job is Stanton, is the DH there. But again, Stanton is pick it up, but if he doesn't, if he falters, and if he starts to revert back to the Stanton we saw last season, then hey, he's on notice that if you're not going to contribute and play well, then you're going to probably lose some of your playing time to Dominguez, and I think that's the way it should be. But I think the threat of Dominguez coming up there and possibly, replacing him, I think that would help Stanton be a better player. So that's all good stuff to have a healthy Jason Dominguez there. And again, I don't know if you listened to the Boom and Gio show, if you heard that whole take, or if you were listening to the broadcast when that happened, but this was kind of a weird moment for Susan. So what do you want to do? You want to root for him to be not healthy again, or just take 2 years to rehab? What do you want? So kind of started to point that out. I don't know if you heard that or not. So that's the episode. Yankees now have this weekend series in Tampa. Not the same Tampa team as maybe usual, but still it's going to be tough as Tampa's down there. It's the terrible ballpark I hate. It's just uncomfortable to watch a game there, especially a ninth inning there. You never feel comfortable. Your closer just that infield track, ground balls that normally be ground outs normally squeeze through the holes there, and you get it's a fast track there, and doubles become triples and singles become triples, and I don't know, it's just a very uncomfortable ballpark to watch a game. I don't like it, but it's on TV. So that's the episode. Things are going well. We'll catch you next time.